Peace, what's going on? So, I wanted to do this real quick. I want to do this video. Close this window real quick. Probably can't hear me. I want to do this video. It's a little bit about my story, but it's also something that I believe everybody who is tapping into their spiritual wellness, their awakening, everybody who's stepping into these roles as coaches or transformationalists or mediums, whatever it is that you've evolved to, understand that you are a conduit, not a vessel. You are a conduit, not a vessel. And I had to understand that for myself too, you know what I'm saying? Because I was very much focused on how people would perceive me. I dealt with a lot of imposter syndrome, things like that. But the fact of the matter is, in this field, spiritual guidance of any kind or coaching, anything you do that is your passion, that is your passion, which means it's tied to your purpose. You know what I'm saying? If it's tied to your purpose, then that means it's tied to a mission or a message. And if it's tied to a message, then that automatically excludes you from the process. It's not about you. It's not about you. A vessel is pointing towards you being the person that embodies something. It's pointing towards you being a vessel, some type of figure, some type of central place for God to be able to store and move, But really, you're a conduit. That's all we are. We are conduits of energy. We are conduits of source to run through us and deliver what we need to deliver to other people. And that's why it's important for us to really tap into our authenticity, because in our authenticity is where we can fully be surrendering. We don't think about how other people perceive us. We walk into the spot like this is what it is. We walk with our power. We let that shit breathe. You feel me? Because we know who we are. We know how powerful we are. We are conduits. We are not vessels. And I truly believe that. This isn't semantics either. You know what I'm saying? When we are conduits, we remove us from the process that source is trying to take us through. We remove ourselves from it. We're connected, but we're detached, right? So we can actually allow source to move through us. This is the reason why Jesus, or any spiritual leader that we know of, from the past, but I use Jesus because he's the most known source or story. This is the reason why he never got caught up in anything. He didn't get caught up in whether he was he never looked at it like they're rubbing my feet. They're worshiping me. He knew that they were worshiping the Father in him. He knew that it was the Christ consciousness that was, just exuding from him, that everybody was gravitating to. That's what they wanted to touch. The hem of his garment, but not him, the Father. And that's what he kept stressing. He never wanted to be worshipped, ever. He never wanted to be worshipped. And when we talk about, the times where they talk about him being up on the hill and the devil was tempting him, that was Jesus. That was his lower self. That was his lower thinking, his lower vibration. Telling himself, you could do just like we do, the same shit we deal with. That's what he dealt with. You could just let everybody know. You could just go down there and shut it all down. And, he went back and forth between his lower self and his higher self. You know what I'm saying? Because Jesus was still there. But the Christ is what he knew was coming out of him. That's why he said, greater works will we do than him. Because we should know that we are in the Father and the Father's in us. Jesus is big bro. He's not God. He's not. And I know there's going to be a lot of Christians upset with me about that. But listen, it doesn't help me to know that Jesus, who's God, did all these things and I'm supposed to be like him. That doesn't inspire me. That's like if I was fucking handicapped and you show me LeBron James and you're like, look, dunk like him. I can't. But if you show me LeBron at one point was crippled and somehow found a way within himself to be able to, walk and dunk the way he is, I got a little hope. I got a little inspiration right there. But my point is that Jesus, all these spiritual authorities, they weren't caught up in ego. They didn't care about, really, they didn't care about numbers. Which is kind of crazy because you're like, well, don't you want to reach a mass of people? You could only reach a mass of people until you completely surrender and understand it's not about you. And understand it's not about who follows you or it's not about that. Be a conduit. All that stuff will come. All that stuff will come. Be a conduit, not a vessel. Let it flow through you, which means you got to allow yourself to be clean and empty. You got to allow yourself to be able to say, okay, know that this is the reason why when we meditate, we want to empty our mind. We want to get to a place where we empty our mind to be able to affirm and manifest, right? This is the reason why before we even get to affirmations and manifesting, we should be in gratitude. Because gratitude brings us to a place where we're completely grateful for what's here and what we have, and that's removing us, because we're in gratitude for things that were provided for us by Source. So we're removing ourselves from the process. No, we're just grateful for what you're doing for us, Source. We're grateful for how you're blessing us, Source. That's what we're looking at. And so gratitude is a really great place to really remove ourselves and allow us to be empty so we can be co-creators with Source. So we can be in a place where we're just still and we're not thinking about the day. We're not thinking about what's going to happen or errands. We're in the morning. It's gratitude. We're meditating. We feel good. And now we're in our affirmations. Now we're co-creating with God. But it ain't us co-creating. It's our higher self co-creating. But when we start to get into our earthly human experience and we start to think about, well, who's watching? Who's thinking this? What if they think this? What if they think that? When we start to do that, this is when we now we get in our own way. This is where we get in our own way. We start to think that we have something to do with it. Make no mistake about it. Just as much as somebody entered your life so you could bless them, they entered your life so they could bless you. Because every relationship we have is really there for us. Every relationship. Your interaction at the store, your child's father or mother, your brother, your sister, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your wife. Everybody is a relationship. It's an experience that is there for us in some capacity. It's all about if we're in the place to really see it for that. People say, oh, that's too deep. No. It's probably that you're too high. You're too high and mighty. You know what I'm saying? Too high and mighty. Because you still caught up in your ego, yourself, and what you think it is. It's not about you. It's not about you, but it's all about you, right? Because it's not about you in the sense of the message getting across, but it's all about you to make sure that you are removed so the message can flow. And I had to learn this myself, make no mistake about it. I had to learn this. I really did. Because I blocked myself a lot. I blocked myself a lot from being able to step out in my power, in what I know, you know? Sometimes I would be more comfortable when I say certain things with people that I know very well, but not when I go out in public. Why? Because I'm too focused on what people think. I put myself in the process. I put myself in it. Even when we say, oh man, if I don't do this, God's gonna... Who said that? Who said that? Seriously. Well, it's in the Bible. All right, I mean, but how much did we put ourselves, I mean, we meaning human race, human ego, how much did we put of that into the Bible? For us to be able to project our ways of seeing life into the Bible. So we think this source should be a type of energy or entity that makes deals. If you do this, I'll do this. Like, nah. That's not source. It's not our soul. So we put a lot of ourselves into the process. But Jesus, Gandhi, Lao Tzu, Buddha, a lot of these people, a lot of these individuals emptied themselves. So they weren't vessels, they became conduits. So just know your power and know that your power can only run through you as long as your human self, is removed. Remove your human self, allow source to move through you. Give yourself the experience of being human, no question about it. I mean, that's why we're here, right? But understand that when we talk about doing this work, when we talk about wanting to work with energy, and we have to empty ourselves. We have to empty ourselves. That's why when people say, well, I can't really work with too many people because they drain my energy. But if you're connected with source, you're always flowing, right? If you're empty and it's not about you, you're connected, you're allowing source to flow through you. You might not even realize you're tired until source is done. Then you're like, holy shit, I gotta restore, right? But as long as you will keep yourself available for source to run through you, I mean, you don't get tired. You don't get drained. You don't even get hungry. It's that real. So, be a conduit, not a vessel. Peace.